Hey everybody, good morning. For those of y'all that weren't able to make it to class last night, I wanted to go through and do a video. We thought about recording the class last night, but it would have just had a bunch of like extra space time and probably been really long. So I figured I could do a video today that would just be the short and sweet of everything you need to know. So I want to go over things, and if you still have questions after you watch this, please feel free to let me know. But there is a lot of information in the video. So first thing, my name is Robin. Obviously, I'll be your primary instructor for the advanced students. And then if you're in the EMT basic class, I'll still be doing some of the stuff with you, but Sarah Morris will be your primary instructor. And just to mention, this video is for both the EMT and advanced EMT students, since y'all have a lot of the same information to share. And if there's differences on the information, I'll mention that in the video. So when we come together for skills days, those 5 days that I mentioned, you'll have probably 5 or 6 different instructors there. So you'll get to meet everybody that day, but you'll primarily be working with either Sarah or myself for the actual online stuff. So one of the first things that I need everybody to do is go into Continuum and build yourself a profile if you're an EMT student, or if you're an advanced EMT student and you already have a profile, I need you to find our course and link yourself to the course. So I'm going to show you from my phone what I'm talking about. Let's see. So if you already have a P number, then you're just going to log into Continuum. A bunch of the students last night mentioned that they had forgotten their password or something like that. So let me see. You may have to reset it. If you've forgotten it. Okay, so if you are an EMT student, that means you probably don't have a P number yet unless you used to have a credential a while back. So what you're going to do is go to right here, continuum.emspic.org. So you'll go to that website and you should see, it should look like this on your phone. And if you're logging in from like a computer, desktop, or laptop, it'll still look like this. Obviously, it'll just be bigger. So you're going to want to go to that. And then down here, if you have a P number, you're going to want to enter that. Obviously, put your stuff in. If you don't have a P number, like mostly for the EMT students, then you're going to want to click on the 3 bars that are up here in the top, and you should see Create Account. And so that is where you'll go in and get a brand new account. And then what the state will do is assign you a P number. And so that's how you'll log into this website from here forward. So make sure that you create an account if you're new, log in if you're already existing. Okay, and then once you have a P number and or get logged in with your P number, you're going to want to, again, go to the menu option and go down until you find Courses, which is under the Education tab. So you're going to go to Education, and then you're going to go to Courses. And then here is where I'm going to be emailing out information, because what you're going to do is you're going to need to type in the course number that I'm going to give you, which is a 7-digit number. And then once you do that, it's in order to link yourself to that class, you're going to have to put in a registration code. So let me just use EMT for example. So for EMT Basic, I'm going to put in the number, the course number, which again, I'm going to email you guys. So I'm putting that in the search bar. And then what you should see is it should say, and I know it's kind of hard to see in the video, but it should say Initial Emergency Medical Technician. And again, this is smaller than it would be because it's on my phone, but, and then it says Montgomery Community College, start date 7/6, end date 11/14. So you're going to want to click on that because the blue actual number should be the link to click on the course. And then you will be able to, like, my screen looks different since I'm an instructor, but as the student, you should be able to see one of the options where you can add this course to your account. But when you do that, it's going to ask you for the course registration code. Again, I'll email the course registration code out. I'm just trying to show you. When it asks for the course registration code, it's going to be this, I think it's 6-digit code that's a combination of letters and numbers. So once you do that, it should be attached to your profile in Continuum. The reason that you have to do that, and you have to do it quickly, because I think the state only allows like maybe 7 days for you to get linked to it in Continuum. Once you finish the class, we will do the November 14th Skills Day is actually your testing day for skills. So what we'll do during that class is we'll go in and you'll come in and do your skills. You'll get checked off. I will keep those records. And then what will happen is you'll do your final exam, and those will be, once you pass, I'm going to say pass for sure. Once you pass your final exam, what I do is just go into that Continuum site and I click you over to passed. So it's that easy. Like, you'll probably get an email the same night that you take the exam, because as soon as I flip you over to pass, the state auto generates an email. It comes to you. It comes to you, and then it gives you the information about how to set up your proctored exam, which is completely separate from me. It's off-site. You know, you go through like a Pearson VUE testing center, so sometimes they may be like H&R Block locations where they have a proctored test site in the back, or I don't know. There's usually a bunch of different options, but you'll set that up completely separate from the college. Once I flipped you over in Continuum, I'm out of the picture. Okay, so Continuum information will be sent out, but that's how you go through that. So please, please, please make sure you link yourself up this week. We met at the rescue building last night for the students that came in, but that's the only time we should be there, hopefully. The college was closed yesterday, which was weird because like the federal holiday was Friday, but anyway, it's neither here nor there. So moving forward, when we have skills days, we will be meeting at Montgomery Community College. I'm going to put a map online of which building we'll be in, because when you get there, there's like different sections of buildings and stuff. So anyway, don't worry about that. I'll put a map up so you know where to go, because usually we have like a big auditorium space to do it. For the syllabus, I want to go over that. So if you're at a point where you're not near a computer right now, when you're watching the video, just wait till you can read the syllabus to watch this part. So you may want to skip this part and come back to it, but I want you to be looking at the syllabus when we go over this. And I'm going to pull it up on my computer real quick. So give me 1 second to get logged in. All right, I'm going to go over the EMT basic syllabus, because truthfully that one and the advanced one are pretty much similar, except the course schedule is obviously a little different, and then the clinical information is a little different, but I'll talk about clinical stuff separately here in a few minutes. So when you go into Blackboard, regardless of which class you're in, the assignment section on the left-hand side is really going to be where you spend most of your time. So each week there will be a week 1, week 2, week 3 folder, and you'll be able to still access the previous week's information, but you won't see any weeks farther out than the one that we're currently in. So please make sure, I try to always put on the front of the folder like what the assignments are for that week, just so you can see it all in one spot, but the stuff should be in the folder too. Generically, almost all assignments for both classes are due on Sundays at 11 p.m. If it's ever going to be different than that, I'll try to make sure to like highlight it and let you know, but you do need to pay attention. I'm not perfect, so I may forget to bold or highlight or something, so, but 90% of the time it's going to be Sundays at 11. And then the new week's folder will usually open at 8 a.m. on Mondays. Let's see. Okay, so for the fall syllabus, the medical director for our college program is Dr. Matthew Harmondy. He's an emergency room doctor at First Health Moore. He's been very supportive of the program. He's been really sweet to work with. The September 19th skill day, he is actually going to be out there, because really, as the medical director, he should be, looking at the student skills, kind of getting a feel for where everybody's at. And so that's what he's going to be doing on September 19th. So he'll be joining us. Nobody needs to like panic or worry or anything because this is still a practice skills day. So it's all good. Course overview and major topics. I mean, you've seen that textbook information and stuff. When it comes to grades, since everything's going to be in Blackboard, the settings in Blackboard will show me if you attempt to submit something late. I cannot accept late work. It's just not fair. We have, between all the classes we're teaching, we have over 60 students. And so it's not fair for me to allow some and not others. I have a family member that's taking the course. One of the other instructors has a family member that's taking the course. They're held to the exact same standards. So there's just no exceptions for late work other than if you have an emergency. I know they come up. You have a death in the family, you get in a car wreck, just whatever. Let me know as soon as possible. So like if it's a week where assignments are due on Sunday and Wednesday, you end up with a death in the family, or you end up in the hospital because you had COVID, or God forbid, something like that. Let me know as soon as possible, even if it's just a quick text message that says like, had an emergency, will explain later. And what that does for me is it tells me early that you had a problem, and then I will work with you to try to give you an extension on your assignments. But if it's after the assignments were due and you're like, oh, I got stuck at work or whatever, that won't work. It has to be in advance and like a legitimate thing. If you get stuck at work, if you get called in for overtime, those aren't really excuses that I can take because everybody's in those situations. So again, just let me know. I will do my best to work with you, but the sooner I know, the better. On the syllabus, it shows the breakdown of what percentage of stuff counts towards your final grade. As you see, homework is 25%. It's the biggest weighted percentage. And I did that because I know a lot of people aren't the best test takers. So if you're working really hard and you're doing all of your assignments, I want you to be able to pass the course. And we will slowly prepare you to do well on the state test, because the information that the software that we're going to be using for your quizzes and tests is generated from a bank of questions that have been used, in previous state tests. So the software that you'll be using is harder. It produces harder questions, but that's good because it prepares you better to take the state test. You need to have a 75 in the course to pass. That is for EMT basic. For advanced, you need to have an 80. So keep that in mind, and that's your total GPA needs to be a 75 again for basic and an 80 for advanced. Okay. The Saturday skills days, they are not optional. You have to be there unless you have a super legitimate issue that you've talked to me well in advance. The reason for that is because these are the only 5 in-person days for the whole class. So please don't wait till the week before and be like, I couldn't find coverage or whatever. You know those dates now. I need you to be there. And when you get down to the course schedule on the syllabus, you'll see basically the breakdown of the chapters and stuff like that for your assignments. Some weeks you have more chapters than others. That's usually, because of the content. So the weeks where the content's pretty hefty, I tried to do less chapters. So once you have your midterm, you can begin clinicals. And I've got that listed on both the advanced and EMT syllabus. Okay. So let me get into clinical information real quick. The EMT basic students, you have to do 72 hours of clinicals. This is higher than what the state requires, but I did that because when you leave this course, I want you to be comfortable being an EMT. I want you to get on the truck, and I want you to know how to set up the cardiac monitor for your patient, spike a bag, set up an IV kit, set up the CPAP machine. I want you to be able to do all of these things with confidence and being comfortable. So adding a few extra clinical shifts on there should give you that extra experience that you need. So there's a list of specific skills that you need in addition to the hours that you're required to do. So the hope is that you can get all those skills knocked out while you're doing the time, but if not, then we can do it at an in-skills lab. So if you're just have bad luck and you end up doing all these shifts and you only have like a few patient contacts, then we'll work with you to make sure that you're not having to do a bunch of extra clinical days. We can try and get it knocked out in the skills lab. For EMT Advanced, you have 96 clinical hours, and 24 of those are required to be in an emergency department. Now, with that being said, it's extremely difficult sometimes to get affiliation agreements through actual health systems versus just EMS agencies. It's a lot more difficult. So right now, the only one we have an affiliation agreement with is Montgomery Emergency Department. So what I've asked everybody to do is, since you only have to have 2 shifts, and again, this is only for the advanced class, if you can, once we get to that point of scheduling it, if you want to come in and do 2 days back to back, so let's say you want to come in on a Wednesday, spend the night, and do your second shift on a Thursday and then leave. Montgomery EMS Base has been kind enough to offer you, just a free bed to crash in that night that you need to stay. And Andy Sanders, who's one of our instructors, is usually the point of contact for that. So as it gets closer, you'll be like, hey, can I crash here between clinicals? So I apologize because I know that's a long drive for some students, but that's the only emergency department clinical site we have right now. We've tried Atrium and Duke, a couple others, but it ends up in this like 6-month long legal review from their team and never getting back to us. So that's just where we're at right now. But for EMS agencies, we've got a lot of good sites. If there's one, and I'll send out an email later of which ones we have contracts with again. But if there is a site that you're just really passionate about and you want to go work at, let me know. I'll do the best I can to get them to sign an affiliation agreement, and we'll go from there. So I think that covers clinical info. Oh, you will need to order polo shirts as it gets closer. So what I will do is I will send out a link to all the students straight through the company that we order it from. You'll work with them, fill out it, and then they'll ship it straight to your house. And then the last thing, sorry, about clinicals is Castle Branch. So within the next few weeks, you should be expecting an email from me that is Castle Branch. You'll be logging in to use them. Some of you might have used them before, some of you might not. Basically, it's just an organization that manages all of our clinical requirements so that it's all in one place. So you'll log in and you'll see, okay, I need a background check, I need my Hep B, I need my tetanus. So they keep track of all that for us as the college. So what you'll do is upload documents to show that you've gotten the different requirements taken care of. And once that is complete, you'll be able to start your clinicals when the clinical start date comes. So I'll try to get you that email account sooner than later. I have to have somebody at the college finish setting it up for me from the administrative end. But once you get that info, please go ahead and start looking at that stuff, because some of the vaccinations take a couple of weeks to get the first one and then the second one. Some people have a hard time finding some of their previous vaccination records, so please don't wait till the last minute. I'm giving it to you early so you have plenty of time before clinical start. So that should be the majority of the info for clinicals. I know there's still a few students that have not been able to get into Blackboard, so in the email I'm about to send out, I will include that phone number as well. They should be available today, so if for some reason they don't answer, please leave them a voicemail, and they should be calling you back. So I think that takes care of everything. If anybody has any questions after watching this video, please feel free to let me know. I did share my phone number with the students in class last night, so I'll give you that now. Just know that, I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, so actually having a phone conversation can be really challenging sometimes because of all the noise in the background. So texting is usually a good way to get a hold of me, or email. If if it's anything important, like, hey, I had a family emergency come up, or hey, you know, I'm trying to think, whatever, like anything that's pertinent, send that to me in an email, and that's to cover you and cover me. If I end up, forgetting that you told me about something or whatever, then you'll have proof that you told me about it. And same way, if you said you did something and I don't have a written copy of it, then I won't have verification of what you said. So if you just have a quick question or something like that, texting is fine. But if it's anything important, put it in email. I, like most people nowadays, get my email right away on my phone, so it's not necessarily any slower. I should still see it and be able to respond to you pretty quickly. So yeah, I think that's it. Oh, so my phone number is 910-850-1156, and I'll put that in the email also. But thank you guys. We're really looking forward to a good class. We had fun last night. We had about probably half the students show up from both classes. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be fun. When we do skills days, we have both advanced and EMT together because it's just easier to do one day with everybody there. And we'll have 5 or 6 instructors with different stations set up. It's very informal. You don't need to dress fancy. Casual is fine. No holy jeans or anything in case somebody from administration comes through, but usually we're the only people there on the weekend. But don't feel like you need to wear a uniform or anything like that. Sorry, I have the hiccups. So yeah, if you guys need anything, let me know. Thanks. Bye.